52 episodes, 52 ordinary people, 52 real stories about things that affect overall health. Because there is a lot more that goes into being healthy than food and fitness. Inspiration, support, a new perspective, and knowledge. You'll find that and more here on the Healthability Project.
Welcome to the Healthability Project. I'm Robin McKenna. Lots of circumstances compel people to leave their home country and start life anew somewhere else. Some are simply looking for a fresh start, others for a better quality of life. Some are drawn to places out of curiosity or what they have seen about these places in the movies, on TV, or from people who have already immigrated. It's a big decision. A decision that has a significant impact on one's health and well-being, not only as one says goodbye to one life and hello to a new one, but for years to follow. Here to share her story about leaving her home country and building a new life for herself is Iveria Lorenz. Iveria is an entrepreneur with a successful career in accounting. She has her own travel and cruise business. She began her new life in, of all places, Alaska. Iveria spent many years in California and now lives in Colorado with her husband. She is the proud mother of two. Welcome to the Healthability Project, Iveria. I am so glad to have you here, and I am so excited to have you share your story of immigrating from Russia to the United States. There's such a wealth of emotions and impact to health and well-being that goes on for people who decide to leave one country and go and start life in another country. And I'd love to hear your story and
Thank you.
What your journey was like. What brought you to the decision to go from your home country to the United States, and what happened once you got here?
Yes, thank you. Actually, my story might be a little bit different because I fell in love with idea of moving to America when I was 11 years old. I saw a show about Disney, and because I was overweight as a kid, I was a chubby. I saw Disney story, and I remember just everybody were so happy, and they showed so many other children that were like me, overweight but happy. And I was just like, this is the place where I want to visit, and this is a place where I want to be, and this is where I'm going. Like, you could ask me questions at 11 years old and say, like, are you sure you're going to live in America? And I would tell you 100%, yes, I'll be living one day in America, and there is no way around it. So I fell in love with the idea going to live in America back then.
As a child through Disney. Wow. That's
Disney.
Super impactful. Where in Russia did you and your family live? And did you have other siblings? Did they support you in this dream?
No, I'm the only one. I don't have any brothers or sisters. I actually only have one cousin, and that's it, which is not very common because it's expensive to have children. And usually people with 3 children and more, that's from not wealth family, usually families of alcoholics, at least where I was growing up. It's very uncommon to have so many children. There are some families with 3 kids and more, maybe. I just didn't see it because usually it's very expensive, and only those that not wealthy, I guess, or not well or something wrong, that's where you have 3 or more people in the family, children. So I'm the only one. And when I'm from Kazan, which is Muslim Republic inside of Russia, which I love to talk about it and freak people out because, politically, there are some people that make an opinion about Islamic countries. And I just love to tell them, well, actually, I grew up in Islamic Republic and I had tons of Islamic friends, and you would never guess, like it's not the way you imagine, because that's where my friends, and one of my boyfriends, actually first boyfriend, was Islamic. It's so funny, but they all look different. They white skin, they light hair, blue eyes, so it's a Republic of Tatarstan, which is right inside of Russia. And it's surrounded by Russia. So because of the location, we have a very respectful relationship between our republic and Russia. And it was all respect in church and politics. And we have our own president, we have our own constitution, though we have, of course, Russian president and Russian constitution, all of that. So it was a very interesting way to grow up. And when I was, I think I went to law school at 16 years old. And then I had opportunity when I was around 19 and a half, I had opportunity that I might go to America next summer, and I didn't know if I will go or not, but it was a student exchange program that I had the opportunity to apply. But one of the things that I had to speak English, which I did not. I never studied English before. So I literally had like 3 months to learn enough so they could accept me to the student exchange program. And I was so dedicated. Now I'm looking back that I was 20 years old, I just turned 20, my birthday in October. So I just turned 20. And in a matter of a few months, I just made this point that I'm going to learn as much as I can. And I'm going to go to this interview and I'm going to pass and we'll see, And I locked myself basically for 3 months. I was able to do that, unfortunately, because my mom was providing for the house, and I told her this is what I'm gonna do, and she was very supportive of that, which is very unusual. Because imagine letting your 20 years old go in a different country and maybe never see her again.
Right.
That's crazy,
Make your mom a little nervous, but that's fabulous that she was so supportive.
She was super supportive. And then I locked myself for 3 months. Basically, I've studied. You could ask me anything about my country, about my family, about my dogs. I could tell exactly what it is, and you would think like I knew exactly what I'm talking about it. Only then I came to Alaska because I did not study geography well, I guess, because I thought Alaska was close to California and close to Seattle. And I figured, well, if I don't like it, here in California, well, Denali National Park, they were so excited to have me that once I moved to Denali National Park, that's it. That was like, I did not go anywhere. And I realized, man, I should really study geography. I tell everybody, guys, you need to study geography because you don't know where you're going to end up. But I came at 20 years old. Yes.
So how was that getting ready to go? You got accepted for the program to come to the United States, and you landed a program that was going to be in Denali National Park. Were you nervous? Were you afraid at all? Were you just so pumped and excited? Sounds like you had great support from your family to do this. So that had to be empowering.
I was more excited than nervous. Now I'm thinking like, would I let my own daughter, she's 23, go to live in another country and not knowing? I'm like, I'm not sure. I don't know. But if it was her dream, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how my mom did that. But I was very excited, more than nervous. But back then in 1999, they had a war. We had, right before I came, USA were in the war. And it was really hard political. I wasn't sure if I'm going to move in or move. Like, I wasn't sure, because it was really hard political situation. And till the very last moment, I wasn't sure if they're going to give me a visa, if they're going to let me get out, because it was a really bad time. And when they let me, they gave me visa, I was excited. Now, I arrived in New York. That was the first place. And I remember I was so hungry and I just want to buy something to eat. And I never seen American money. I don't know what quarter, what 5 cents, what 10 cents look like. I barely speak English because I know if you ask me about some topics, but if you want to start conversation with me, I have zero idea. I don't know what you're talking about. And everybody have an accents. So I remember taking some bus. And bus drivers were awesome. Like, the people I met were amazing because I'm literally remember, like, I don't know how to pay for the bus, but I'm having a lot of money given to him. He's basically giving me ticket and then telling me, okay, go, and the show, like, I'm like, food? And he's like, okay, go. So it was just so weird. And I'm buying chicken and watermelon was my first food. And I remember that so expensive because when I translate that to Russian money, I'm thinking, oh my God, I could live like in Russia for a week for food, and here I'm buying just watermelon chicken, But
did that make you nervous
great.
that you were going to run out of money?
No, I think I was just young and stupid and, and excited. I don't even know. I'm looking back at myself at 20 and I'm thinking like, I was a really brave young girl to do something like that.
Yes.
And I'm impressed by that because I'm not sure like, would I do it again or let my kids to do that? But at the same time, I realized that after that, I can survive in any country. Like you could put me somewhere, anywhere without language, and I will be able to figure things out. So that's kind of nice, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the resilience and the confidence that you gained by doing that is just phenomenal.
It's interesting because then I arrived to Anchorage Airport and it's May. I came for Memorial Day. So that's my Memorial Day is my huge holiday. I just remember arriving to Anchorage Airport and driving to Denali National Park, and there is a snow everywhere in May, and there are no people, and it's wilderness. And I'm coming from the big city where 3 million people, back then, now it's even more. And here I am in the middle of Alaska, nowhere, first time seeing anything like that. And the entire time I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die. Oh, somebody going to kill me. I'm going to die. Like, what am I doing? But I'm going. I'm like, okay, no turning back. So I did. And my first job was in Denali National Park in a gift shop. Did not speak any English well enough. I always stressed out, sweat a lot. I probably stink a lot because people maybe even told me that you stink and you take shower, but I didn't understand. So magically I would find sometimes deodorant in my cubby. And I'm like, oh, deodorant. I can take it back to Russia with me.
Wow.
I'm thinking, oh my God, that was just, yeah, I'm laughing a lot looking back, but you know what? Hey, it's all good.
And so how was it adjusting? I mean, once you started to learn the language, obviously there was a stress factor learning the language, but once you started to pick up the language, I mean, how were the people that you found yourself with? I mean, you had to make all new friends and
Yeah.
you were, really on your own. So you had to be very self-reliant in a lot of ways.
I was tired a lot because where I'm from, day and here night. So it was 12 hours difference and it was like really hard to adjust. So I just want to sleep entire time. And then I did not understand little things like people say, what's up? And I'm like, what's up? What's up? What up? I don't know the slang. So people say, how are you? I'm like, oh, I'm good. Thank you. So it took me a while. But everybody were nice. I mean, I really did not come across anybody mean or took advantage. It's just like everybody I met along, I was pretty lucky. I didn't speak English enough, and I think it was very frustrating for people that I work in because imagine you expecting somebody to you hire them, but they don't, But somehow I was able to operate cash register. I was actually number one salesperson that summer because I had Japanese tourists that come over and never spoke any English and nobody could understand them, what they want. And I sold the most magnets that summer. Like my sales were through the roof. I won contest and I got that free dinner and I took entire gift shop. Wow, number one. I mean, seriously, people who come over, bus drivers would come and stop by and bring entire crew of Japanese tourists to me so I can sell them magnets by the boxes. And we're talking like ugly by the boxes, And and I moved so much inventory on magnets that year. And because nobody took the time to talk to them, you understand. And I don't speak English. So like, hey, I don't speak Japanese, but hey,
you somehow found some kind of commonality in the fact that neither one of you, you or the Japanese tourists knew English. And
well, they don't know if I speak English or Russian. I don't know what they're speaking, but I was able to sell them. It was fun.
You got your name out there as the magnet woman.
I did. Yes, it was. So the summer was very fast. I got lost a few times when I was driving to Denali because that was just like, oh my God, it's so many things. But I adjusted. And the worst thing was to me, I think, just knowing that my mom wasn't there. And later when I got married and was pregnant and I worked at Sears, my first job in Anchorage was Sears because that's the only thing I could do. And cells, and I just remember being tired and going to break room, and I hear those girls where they talk to mom and say, hey, I'll see you tonight, or oh, I'll see you soon. And that hurt me so bad because like I did not have this opportunity to see my mom tonight, and I was like, oh, that's where it was really hard, feeling.
That was a time before WhatsApp.
Yes.
And the internet, really, and the days of letter writing.
Well, had to buy call cards, and then you had to use it. And then my grandma was in Russia still. And imagine if we would have a WhatsApp. Oh my God, like this. I would talk to my grandma all day long, but I did not. And I was 20.
Yeah.
And do you really want to talk to your grandparents and your parents when you're 20? No, I mean, you talk, but not like every day. It's different. So I wish I spoke more to my grandma because she passed away. And I wish I had opportunity to be a better granddaughter, But the things like right now, my kids, 23 and 20, my son is 20. And when my daughter was in her 20s, and, I'm like, oh, she will call, but I want her. And I'm thinking, you know what? I did exactly the same thing. Let her go, let her come around. And she's 23 and she's awesome. And she calls me and we talk, but I had to let her be her for a few years just because I did the same thing.
And that's probably what your grandmother was thinking anyway, right? I mean, because we all went through that. Everybody goes through that, right? Where you have to become your own person. And
that's the comfort I'm going to live with for the rest of my life, because that I don't know. Because I don't know, my grandma wanted entire life to see her granddaughter. And it was so sad because I was pregnant with my son, and I told my grandma, hey, I'm coming in October. I bought the tickets and I'll be there. You just wait for me. And she died.
Oh.
So I came over she never seen my granddaughter. My daughter, she want to see her. So she just, I think she just relaxed knowing that, oh, I'm coming. So I'm go ahead and die. And that's what she did, because I missed her just by a few days, and that's probably the worst regret, like going through. But I had to make a peace with that, and what can you do?
Right, exactly, exactly. It's probably the only thing in life that is not scheduled.
Exactly. So
right.
What can you do?
So you had your first summer there, and you were working in Denali National Park, which for many of us would be like such an extraordinary experience because of the natural beauty there. Was it after that experience that you decided to stay? How is it that you decided to stay in the US after that?
Well, I came as a student exchange, and I met the person actually through before I even came over here. We had some kind of not relationship, but we were good friends. That's my ex-husband. So the only way I could really stay if I would get married to him. Mm-hmm. And I did, and we've been married for 6.5 years, and I had 2 kids together. So it wasn't anything like, okay, we married and then divorced. It was a long relationship. It just didn't work out, unfortunately. We probably would be better friends than married. Just, we were different, but you got to do what you got to do. And we talked about it, because if I would leave, I would never come back. And he said, well, do you want to stay? We were married, and we had a beautiful marriage, and we have beautiful children together, and I loved his family. They loved me. It just didn't work out, at the end. But that's how we decided. And then here shortly, my mother was able to come, and she lives here now. Yeah. Great. It worked out really well at the end, somehow magically, but I had to grow up pretty fast, because here 20, I'm here getting married before I'm 21. And then I'm pregnant for next 3-4 years, because I'm pregnant with my daughter, breastfeeding, pregnant with my son, breastfeeding, and not knowing any English. And I was able to open my own daycare center, because it just made sense if I would go work somewhere else and make money and then pay somebody else to watch my kids, right? Or I opened my own daycare center and do something about it. So I did. I opened my own daycare center. I got my citizenship when I was pregnant by my son. As soon as I got my citizenship, I went back to school. So I got my degree right away. Like, I was on the dean list just because I was so ready to be with adults. And, so I got my degree. And then from that point, I went to accounting career, because that's what I want to do. I want to be with I wanted to be with adults, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then unfortunately I got divorced, which it just, I knew it's going to happen. We're just not compatible. It just, he never grew up, and you know, we should stay really good friends, and he just never grew up, but we outgrow our marriage. But at the end, you know, I met my husband, who I'm married for 15 years now. And you know, it is what it is. So for people that moving to different country, it's not going to be easy. Would it be interesting? 100% would be interesting. Would it be that, like, you could make it hard and you could have a victim mentality entire time, and oh my god, I left everything behind. Oh, you know what you're doing when you go to different country.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I went to Russia, I was pregnant with my son. He's 20 right now. It's been 21, 22 years ago. That was the last time I went to Russia. Do I want to go in Russia again? No, I don't want to go to Russia right now, because with all political things going on right now, I don't feel safe. I don't want my kids to go there. I don't want to do anything with that right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that do go to Russia. Power to them. I don't want to go. I'm just afraid. I went to volunteer when war started with Ukraine. I actually went to Poland because that's how I am not on the same page with Russia. And when people ask me, I telling everybody that I am Alaskan more than anything else right now, because I lived in Alaska longer than I lived in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Russia, but I'm Alaskan.
Mm-hmm.
And but everybody, like, I spoke to my husband yesterday because everybody want to know, are you Russian? Where are you at? Where are you standing? What? So there is a people, like, there is a prejudice a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, when people first thing they hear Russian, like,
Mm-hmm.
they will ask questions and I will answer the questions, and you know.
But you feel that your roots are more Alaskan or American versus Russia because it's been so long?
Yeah, I'm not, like, because I came at 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up here. I became mother here. I become a wife here. I became business owner here. I have friends. I feel like I am American, but not, like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, American girls who grew up here, I think they're a little different. It just, I'm like, I am Russian by birth, but I'm Alaskan by by growing up, I guess. I don't know. Just I'm Alaskan girl, you know.
By your experience.
Yes, by my experience, I'm Alaskan girl.
You know, you came when you were young and impressionable, and all these experiences influenced you. And like you said, you had to grow up very quickly. You were really on your own. You did not have a social network like so many people do have when they come to another country, even if it's just friends or distant relatives. How long was it before your mom was able to join you? You both your kids had been born?
I was pregnant with my son, so it was 2003 when he was, because she was there for the birth of my son.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's been with you ever since, or been here ever since?
Not with me, because again, I'm 20 something. My mom was 20 years older than me, so she's 40, younger than me right now. And I'm here thinking, oh my gosh, she's gonna be grandma. Well, no, my mom is not like that. Like, no, you're on your own. It's your kid and you're gonna raise it, and I'm gonna go have my own. And I was just like, first I'm like, oh, you know, expectation, like, mom, you're supposed to be grandma and help me. And no. So even though my mom was here, my mom had her own thing.
Yeah.
And she would come over, and I had to grow up on that too, because I had to learn that it's not fair to expect from your mothers and fathers to raise your children. I totally understand this right now, because it's your decision to have a kid. You need to make sure that you raise your own children, not your grandparents. And I truly believe this right now. And both my kids, they very independent. I'm an empty nester. I have a great relationship with my children. I had to let them go, just like mom had to let me go. And I am not grandma yet, but I'm going to be the coolest grandma.
Yes.
When once I'm going to have grandkids, because I would want to spend some time with them, actually. And my mom had to learn a little bit, and she's great grandma, but we call her Mila. We don't even call her grandma, just because she never wanted to be called like that. But I understand her. Imagine her coming to a new country, leaving everything behind. Kick-ass lawyer, very independent woman, having career of her lifetime, and leaving everything behind and come over here to be closer to her daughter and start from scratch, and having first job working at Value Village, where just a month ago she was a CEO of the company, and only because she doesn't know any English.
Right.
My mom's story is really interesting because she here shortly after like a year being in America, and she was in her 40s learning English, never learning before. In her 40s, in the matter of months, she's becoming controller for aircraft company in Alaska. Controller. And with her broken English and nobody saying they don't understand anything, I mean, she's having them by, they listening to her. That's her interesting story. Her story is amazing.
That's impressive. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
So if you had it to do over again, would there be, looking back at your experience and even landing in Alaska versus, you mentioned earlier, like, gee, I maybe should have looked at geography a little bit more.
If I would live somewhere else, I mean, who knows what my life is going to be like. I'm very happy where I am. Yeah. I am very happy. I have my husband who loves me. We travel over 44 countries. I always say my first husband was a punishment to go through and educate. And my second one is reward. I had to grow up and I had to go through that, and I had to make my peace, and I had to understand where I am, because I just wouldn't be where I am right now without that. So, and for a very long time, I had such a hatred to my ex-husband just because I was asking my question, like, why would I come over all through Russia just to be where it's this and not making enough money and go ask for donations for food or barely leaving, surviving. My stories, like some stories are really hard. Like, why? Because it was really hard. But at the same time, I understand that I had to learn a lesson.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks. This has been a really interesting conversation, and one of, I think, extraordinary bravery, resilience, and I love your attitude. You did what you had to do, and you at one point you started the childcare business because that's what you could do. You worked at Sears because that's what you could do, and everything you seemed to be a stepping stone to get you to the next place where you knew you wanted to be, and it worked out just beautifully for you.
Yeah, and it's never ending. Now it's like, being new location. And I used to be a full-time accountant, financial analyst, but then my son got sick. So I had to step back a little bit. And I did not want to do accounting for a while, though I've been self-employed and running the businesses for last few years, helping my husband. But now it's against a new challenge, because now after 5 years or so, I am going into somewhere where I could start over career again and have my job. And, so who knows where I'm going to be in the next 5 years, but that's the beauty of it. It's never finished. It's just always something evolving. Next step, evolving. And, like you said, stepping stone. And I just don't know where I'm going to be, but as long as anybody excited and just see the positivity out of it, there's something good about. So I just know, I know there's something great out there. And even though I don't have a job yet, because I just moved, I already keep telling everybody, you know what, my job is already created somewhere and it's already waiting for me. We just need to connect here shortly. But it's already looking for me. I'm not looking for it.
That is a fabulous perspective. I'm going to follow that one.
It's there. I mean, we just need to connect.
Well, thanks very much for your time, Iveria.
Hey, Robin.
Listeners, hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. And if so, please like us, share us, post on social media, tell your friends. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can reach me at thehealthabilityproject@gmail.com. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us today at the Health Ability Project. We'd love to hear from you, so please email us your questions, comments, or suggestions, including future guests, to thehealthabilityproject@gmail.com. And please like us, subscribe, and share us with your friends.